It's time! Look at this. Starbucks has officially switched to Christmas. I have red nails. It's November 5th, I think. And today is day 2 of uploading on my way to work. Like, why didn't I think of this before? Probably because I didn't have energy and I was half asleep. But now that I'm in my 3rd trimester, you guys, I've awoken. I have awoken. Today, I'm trauma dumping on y'all so you feel seen and heard and you feel better about yourself. Also, I'm starting a private practice. I just got credentialed with Aetna, Cigna, United Health, I think. A couple different insurances on Headway. And I'm credentialing myself so that I can like have my own business on the side. So I'm working with Headway and I'm starting my own thing called Great Lakes Wellness. Yes. Okay. Businesswoman coming through. But for now, I have to continue to go to the prison and clock in for my $58 an hour. Okay. So I've been watching Call Her Daddy, and Call Her Daddy has been inspiring me because this girl, Alex Cooper, posted 4 episodes of a podcast, and Barstool Sports was reaching out. Like, hey, we want to sign you guys on a contract. So I'm like, I need to keep fucking posting because I have a personality, I'm a good talker, and I have one hell of a story. And everybody loves a come-up story, right? And I feel like mine is a come-up story. Mine is a story of redemption because I was literally in the trenches, prostituting, using drugs. I thought that's what my life was going to be like my whole life. And now I'm a mom of 4, 5 on the way. So, okay. Okay, so I went to college when I was 18. I went to CMU. I thought I wanted to be a Spanish teacher. When I got to CMU, I partied and used drugs, got hooked on Adderall. 2 years later, I dropped out of college and I moved back, quote, home. Within like 2 weeks, my mom was like kicking me out of the house because I was unhealthy. I was. And my siblings lived there. My mom had 2 more kids whenever I was 14 and 15. And so my siblings were like 3, 4, 5, I don't know. They were young. And she didn't want me to be around them. So, okay, cool, whatever. So then I moved into my grandma's. And I remember just going to the bars all the time because I couldn't find Adderall around Saginaw, and that was like my drug of choice. So I just started hanging out in bars. Well, I met this guy, and, you know, he was a drunk. He was an alcoholic, but I was okay with that because he got unemployment. And I knew that if I sat there with him in the bars and I drank, I started to figure this out, that he would eventually buy me drugs. Well, one day we were drinking because, like, at first I hadn't really tried Oxy, but I'm going to tell you about the first time I tried Oxy. So we were drinking at the bar and we went back to his place, which he lived with a friend who was like 50 years old. And me and my boyfriend were like 5 years apart, in our 20s. Like, he was late 20s, maybe 28. I was like 21, 22 when I dropped out of college. Oh my God, I'm behind this corn person, like a farm corn truck, and it's brutal. I gotta pass him, but we gotta wait a little bit. Whew. Okay, so we went back to his place at his friend's house where he lived. He lived in the basement because why wouldn't he? And that should have been my first red flag. But, you know, I was young. We do dumb shit when we're young. And we were listening to music. My boyfriend at the time loved music, loved explaining it to me in his drunken stupor. And we were listening to Blind Melon, which was like, all I can say is that my life is pretty plain. I like watching the puddles gather rain. You guys know that song is from the 90s. The music video was like a little bumblebee girl. Yes. My first dance costume was a bumblebee. Maybe I'll try to put a picture. And then Elizabeth's first competition was a bumblebee. So it's just weird. This bumblebee costume follows me. Anyways, so he was explaining to me that the lead singer, his name was Shannon. he did cocaine and heroin, and like he was a brilliant genius artist. Like they got so famous so quick, and then he died. He did too much drugs and passed away. So we were like, we should totally go try heroin. Like, I don't know why. We were drunk, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So then the next day, I knew who to contact because there were some kids in my high school that were hooked on Oxy and like had been to rehab, and I knew them. I had kind of distanced myself from them like in high school because I didn't want to like go that route. I didn't want to get in trouble. My dad was an addict and missing out of my life until I was 14. So I always knew that like drugs were bad and like they can really affect you. But when my dad came back into my life, he looked okay to me and he was alive and he had stories to tell. So I'm like, well, they can't be that bad, you know. He's living, you know, he's alive. He has Parkinson's now, and you know, I'm not gonna get into his story, but yeah, okay. So I contact my friend. He's now passed away, but I was like, hey, can you get some heroin? He's like, no, but I can get you Oxy. It's $80 a pill. And I'm like, what? That's so much money. And he's like, well, we can go in on one and we can split it because they're really strong. I was like, okay, bet. So I think we all paid like $30. $90, whatever, about that much. And then you have to like suck the coating off of the pill. It's like this weird process. You can't do it anymore. So it doesn't matter that I'm explaining it because they changed these pills to gel up and be gummy so that you can't snort them and that you can't break them down and like shoot them up or whatever. So I had never shot up anything. So we were snorting this night, my very first night. So I remember he sucked the coating off and he broke it all down and split it into 3 lines and we all snorted it. And like within 15 minutes, I was just like, oh my God, I feel fucking perfect. I had a septum piercing like right here. And I remember having it in my pocket and being sad that it was like, I couldn't get it back in. Well, I just pushed it right through. It didn't even hurt. And it was like painful before. And I just remember feeling like whole. I felt accepted. I felt good. Everything, all of my issues were gone. Like that's what I felt. I felt warm and fuzzy. Like every answer was solved. You know what I mean? If you've ever like had a toothache or something and did a Vicodin, you might know how I feel. But I was snorting it, and I was snorting this really strong opiate. So after that day, I was just like, I have to do this like all the time because I felt so out of place. I felt like a failure from flunking out of college. And once I snorted that, I just felt like this is the answer to all my problems right here. Like I feel like my mom's giving me a warm hug. I feel like my father never abandoned me for drugs. I'm just like amazing. And so then I needed some form of opiate every day thereafter. And then eventually you get to a point where not only do you need it mentally to like help you with your life, but you also need it physically because your body gets sick if you don't have it. So I started to wake up like sick. Like I need this. Like now, because my back feels like it's on fire and it's pulling and stretching my back, and I feel like I'm gonna puke. So that is how my opiate addiction started, and it got really rough, and my relationship with my boyfriend got really ugly because he didn't fall in love with drugs like I did. His love was alcohol, and he had already found his love. I didn't know. Because people with addictions or people that are fully addicted to something, they're not just going to say, hey, guess what? I'm addicted to alcohol. You know, it's like, no, I'm not, or I didn't drink, or I won't drink. And then I would always catch him lying, and I'd find little flasks and shit in his bag. You know, and I'd pour him down the drain, and he'd get mad, and I'd lock him out of the house, and he'd bust the window open to come in. Super toxic relationship. Not a healthy relationship. I started figuring out how to sleep with men for money. It started out as like, I'm going to give massages. And I would find people on Craigslist and I would give them massages. And then, oh, hold on one second. Oh my goodness. So I just got to the prison. My bestie called me in the middle of my video, so I didn't really get to finish, but I was pretty much done with my story. So you guys have a great Thursday. I love you. You have a good fucking day. Mwah. Mwah. Bye.